I gotta be honest with you guys, man. I thought I reviewed every fragrance from the house of Day 3 Fragrances, but I was just in there the other day and I was talking to Michael. I'm like, Mike, I have not reviewed Royal Reflection. I've smelled it, I've worn it, I know all about it. But somehow, in the midst of going through the discovery set a long time ago and buying several bottles later and, doing the interview with him and all that, I was just suddenly realized, like, wait, I don't have an individual review of this fragrance. So strap up. Let's go ahead and complete this entire set from the house.
Okay, dinner for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on time, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
Welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the afternoon. Hey, listen, I had a little bit of a word salad there at the end. What I meant to say was that this will conclude the set. So if you search on my channel right now, you'll find a review of every fragrance release from the house of Day 3 Fragrances, except this one. You'll hear me talk about it a lot, but I guess somewhere in the midst, I didn't realize that I hadn't reviewed it, and it's been sitting on my shelf the whole time. So anyways, this was a collaboration, and I'm going to actually pull it up here. Royal Reflection. This was a collaboration with Megan Woods, a very popular, how would I describe her? A contemporary Christian singer. And it is, what can I say? I don't really know how the collaboration came about. I know that Michael and his family are fans of Megan to some degree, maybe even friends with her. They know a few people in the kind of Christian singing industry. One of them being Colton Dixon, which they did a collaboration on Desert Rain. But this was the first artist collaboration publicly, to my knowledge. And let me put this light on here. There we go. Give you guys a little bit more light. And this was the first, out on a limb collaboration where they met the artist and kind of had an artist curated direction on a fragrance. And this was a rose fragrance, Royal Reflection, a collab with Megan Woods. And I'm sure a lot of you, at least women, are curious about it. I didn't think that this fragrance really appealed to the masculine crowd. Rose can be unisex, and I even think it could be masculine in some cases. I do have fragrances like Taif Oud and Taif from Ormond Jane, and which, that's more unisex. I think Taif Oud from Roja is a little more masculine, but it's still unisex. But anyways, where do I want to go with this? Oh, okay. So this fragrance is what I would call like a mono note fragrance, where it's literally all about the rose itself. And it has a little bit of personality and character around it, but it's more like a Matiere Premier fragrance, where all of those fragrances kind of have one star note in the fragrance that they're building supporting elements around to further emphasize that fragrance. So a fragrance that I have, Encens Suave, is all about incense and woods. Then they have the vanilla, I think it's called vanilla powder or vanilla power, something like that. Vanilla something. And they even have, man, what are some of the other Matiere fragrances? Falcon leather, so that star note is leather. This is in the realm of that, where it's just about rose. Now, I know from knowing Michael that if he's going to make something more simplified and more about like a singular note, he's going to put a lot in the accord composition of that note. He's going to try and use really unique raw materials that people aren't using to have like something very signature to his house, because each fragrance that Day 3 comes out with has to make sense from a story standpoint and from a brand standpoint. And they have a lot of pressure. Mike I don't know if he would agree or disagree on this, but this is just my outside looking in perspective, being that I've been in the boutique now quite often and talked to Mike privately on many occasions. We've shot content together. I just know from what he's spoken about that, that house has a lot of pressure on their back, not only to succeed as a company, but with all of the renown, public appeal and praise and awards and things that they've gotten as a house since the release of La Tacita de Café. There's just a lot of pressure with each release to be knocking it out the park, providing a different style of fragrance to their collection. They always are pushing unisexness about their fragrances. So that's another aspect of it, making fragrances that both men and women can enjoy. Now, granted, some lean masculine or feminine, but they are all wiggling around or dancing around unisex. This is one of the more feminine leaning, even to their other rose fragrance, which is, I think Downtown Deja Vu, which is like a cotton candy rose or something like that. But there's a lot of pressure. And so going with a kind of mono note fragrance style like this on the backbone of fragrances like Philosophia, Tres Oros, Downtown Deja Vu, Aylin, Bonnie, that's a lot of pressure to make a fragrance just as stunning as all those previous, while having a more minimal approach to notes and ingredients. So I know that Michael, with that pressure, tried to go above and beyond, even in its simplicity, to make an incredible rose fragrance for men and women. But this was geared towards Megan. I can tell it's feminine leaning. But nonetheless, okay, we are 7 minutes in, and I haven't put the fragrance on. So let's do that. So with day 3 fragrances, what I can tell you right off the bat is I call Mike the sillage king privately. All of their fragrances have great sillage and projection, and they feel like luxury fragrances. I think it's a skill to put on a fragrance and create the feeling of luxury, no matter whether it's a casual, a tropical, masculine, whatever the vibe is, to always maintain high quality and luxury is no small feat. And there's different ways that perfumers approach and tackle this. Sometimes they kind of have some accords that always accompany their compositions to kind of have uniformity between their different releases. Sometimes it's just a raw material standpoint. Sometimes it's branding. Sometimes they connect fragrances by all having the same type of projection or the same type of wow factor or whatever. Day 3 has loud fragrances, quiet fragrances, different vibes, but they all have a day 3 feel to them. They all have a type of scent that feels uniform to all of them, that in the scent feeling it's not a certain note. It's just this feeling of luxury. So I don't know if it's musk, if there's a type of musk accord or a certain part of the base that it goes in every fragrance. Who knows? I don't know, but it's cool that no matter what kind of fragrance you're getting luxury. Okay, that out of the window. What does this rose fragrance smell like? Rose. Okay, the end. Let's cut the camera off. No, I'm kidding. This is a natural, very God's Earth original rose type of scent. I believe this collab was off of the backbone of one of Megan's song releases, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of story behind Royal Reflection, the name and the note, and working with the artist. I'll let you guys, have something to look at after this. So definitely go search up. Michael has a good amount of content out there with Megan talking about how they put together this fragrance. But as a fragrance, it's musky and rosy. It's quite simple. It's natural rose. It's a beautiful rose. It's musky. It has a touch of almost powdery, like a slight bit of powder and musk. It's really nice because it's reminiscent in terms of the rose presentation. Its rose scent profile feels to me the closest like Taif Oud from Roja, this very kind of damp, after it rained, rose blooming out from the ground, pink rose kind of feel. Again, it's got this beautiful musky powderiness, but it has this slight wet dampness to it. It's definitely a unisex rose. I mean, it's feminine because of how we associate rose, but in terms of the wearability, it has a lightness where they haven't overly jammed the rose or sweetened the rose. This is very natural sweetness. You know, this is a very Garden of Eden type of rose where it just feels supernatural, but in its naturalness just has a nice pungency and real earthiness to it. Enough of me talking. Let's change windows since we're already 10 minutes in. Fragrance, not a lot of votes yet on this, on Fragrantica, but 4.3 out of 5. It does have the day 3 quality to it. I don't imagine a fragrance like this would be a sillage fragrance. I imagine it to just have, this is a scent bubble type of fragrance, 2-3 feet scent bubble. It's calming, it's soothing. It's almost like it just rained. It was a gloomy day, and then all of a sudden you just get this gust of wind brushing by, and you're walking down the street and you see a fresh, the sun comes out. There's a rainbow off in the distance, and out of the concrete is just this beautiful, lush rose, and it just smells of that kind of sweet, damp air. I think this passion fruit note really is kind of creating this little nuance of character in there that's just really cool to smell. But look how simplistic this is. Top note passion fruit, rose de mai, and white musk. I feel like, let's see what the longevity is real quick before I speak on this. So moderate sillage and moderate longevity. So I'd imagine at least 6 solid hours with a fragrance like this, depending on your hygiene and stuff like that. Look at this. This is really interesting. Some people compared it to Portrait of a Lady. I could see that a bit, but it's definitely not the same. It's really interesting to me, as somebody who owns Portrait of a Lady, that's a really interesting comparison, because I would almost compare it to Taif Oud before Portrait of a Lady, but I can see exactly what they're talking about. The passion fruit is really kind of cool because if you get really close to it, it's almost got like this watermelon feel to it because of the wetness and because of the fruitiness of the passion fruit, which is very tucked and very distant. I almost get these kind of melon-esque, watermelonish kind of touches in the back, like in the most light, airy, natural way, like you're smelling a watermelon a couple feet away type of thing in the air. You're getting wafts of it. It's got a somewhat soily dampness to it, but in the freshest way possible. It's very musky. I want to spray it one more time on my arm just to give it the due diligence, because when you have a quieter fragrance like this, this is on the level of kind of Bonnie, in terms of the projection. It's one of the more quieter scents. It's not like Downtown Deja Vu or Philosophia or Tres Oros, which radiate off skin. This projects off skin in a more subtle, finessed way. It's more angelic in its projection. Man, the opening is so beautiful. I really think a lot of you guys are going to smell this scent and walk past it very quickly, because you're not going to have the patience with your nose to appreciate it. This is a scent much like Desert Rain and fragrances like, again, Taif Oud, L'Homme from YSL. Just kind of these scents that if you don't get it all right away, you're pissed off, or you don't think it's there. There's a lot of character there and stuff. This is one of the Blue Talisman is another one I think about. Just scents that you put on your skin, and for whatever reason, because it's not sparkling and having all these different notes stab out to you, you're just not that interested in it. But this is a scent that will quietly unravel before you in that first hour and really talk to you. Like, I'm smelling things in this fragrance that I didn't necessarily smell in the shop. You know, I felt like it kind of, okay, it's a little bit like a way fresher, muskier take on like a Taif Oud from Roja. But even as I'm sitting here talking, now I feel like I'm getting more of that passion fruit. And the passion fruit isn't kind of this like Hawaiian fruit punchiness, synthetic kind of cheapness. It's like a really rich, green, earthy passion fruit that feels like you just picked it up off the ground. Like it's got a bit of air and soil. And it's really cool. This is a fragrance that would work like YSL L'Homme, where if somebody got close to you and gave you a hug, they would be like just intoxicated with this, I feel. This is a close proximity scent where it's not going to reach out and bait people into this big signature scent. But this is almost like the smell you naturally want to smell like. And man, it's got a prettiness to it. I use the word pretty because I think this fragrance would be best on a woman. It just has a very God's green earthness to it, a very angelicness to it, a very prettiness to the rose. The rose is very, it's natural, it's signature, but it's got a very delicateness, a very prettiness to it where like I could totally see this could be like a high school girl's signature scent and no one's going to smell like her and no one's going to smell as good as her. It could be a soft-spoken girl that you're trying to figure out in college. This could be her signature scent. Maybe she's got more of a gothic feel, or like she's just quiet and closed off or more conservative or something like that. But she just wears this and you're like, wow, there's something to this chick. For my older women who prefer more of a traditional scent profile that is more of that angelic, airy, white floralish kind of touch to women, but you don't want to smell like an old woman or like a vintage perfume. This is a very modern take on a very kind of Chanel-y style, you know. I don't know if it's specifically in the vein of like a Coco Mademoiselle or Chanel No. 5. It kind of has that very pretty upscale woman and a bit of girliness to it with the passion fruit, I feel. But it can go ageless. Okay, so I'm trying to give this more due diligence because of what I know about the house and because I'm experiencing in real time a little bit more than I'm getting a lot more passion fruit for some reason this time around. And I'm really seeing that a lot of people aren't going to give Michael the credit he deserves for a scent like this because you can't walk by this fragrance. You have to sit on the bus with this fragrance. If you're ever trying this, mostly I think women will, but men, if you try this, put this on and douse yourself in it and really let it take you on a nose journey throughout the day because the wafts each time are getting crazier and crazier. This could have fit in the Matiere Premier lineup in terms of like the mono note fragrance style. It would have just been amazing. This is simply amazing. And what I mean by that is they took something so simple. It's like you guys don't appreciate fragrances like Oolong Cha and stuff like that because it's like, oh, it's just like lemon and grass. And no, it's the quality. It's transportive. It takes you to air and space and time, not just scent. And that's what you guys, you know, as you get older in life, you find meaning and you learn to move slower and you appreciate things that you've been overlooking in life. And a lot of things that you're overlooking are things that seem to be simple, and they are, but they're beautiful, and they're more beautiful and more valuable to you when you slow down to appreciate what they are. And as you have things kind of skating by and grabbing your attention and stuff, when you're left with nothing and kind of able to evaluate yourself, you go back to certain things, you know, like a black coffee or a tea or something, and you just appreciate, like, wow, this doesn't have to do much, but it's amazing, and it's got such versatility within it. And it's not like, you know, soda and Kool-Aid and drink, and it just hits different, right? It's a different appreciation. I feel like only mature people can appreciate this for some reason, but I think many people can enjoy it. It's a fragrance that will talk to you, and you'll appreciate it more. The longer you're willing to stay in the room with this fragrance, the more you'll appreciate its beauty, what it does on skin, and its DNA in the marketplace today. It's kind of took the elegance and beauty of femininity in fragrance from the past and made it super fresh and modern, while not foregoing all of the kind of angelic simplicity and delicacy that women fragrances had. I like it. I think as a fragrance, in terms of the lineup, I think it sits somewhere between an 8 and a 9 for me. Like, it's easily above average, but I think most of you wouldn't give it more than an 8 unless you are a woman, and unless you can appreciate simplicity, because this is beauty in the simple, and you have to really get close to it to appreciate it, to smell the nuance and stuff like that. It's a quiet killer, you know, and I just don't think a lot of you guys are going to give it the time, and or maybe might not even be in a place in the journey in your fragrance journey to appreciate it. I think if you're into rose scents and you're a woman, I think you'll give this like somewhere around an 8 or a 9. I'm at an 8 with it. Strong 8 though. Like I don't do decimals. But I think this is a lovely fragrance. Like, I think this is a fragrance where I'm going to go back to it in the future and like slowly be like, go to my wife, Allie, and be like, babe, you just got to wear this. Like, this is just good. It might be another one I get for her, especially she's a very, not soft-spoken person, but she likes her fragrances to feel very natural. And this is that. This is a natural fragrance that is very signature and very beautiful on its own. I can't speak highly enough to the beauty that was accomplished with such a simple note profile. So yeah, I definitely think for a lot of you guys who feel like the roses out there today are too jammy or too candied or too syrupy or too oody, you know, you just want something that's similar to something that you've had in like a Bath and Body Works or a Chanel or something like that, but you want it to smell more luxury and high end and kind of have more of an angelic pristineness and weight to it, a little more personality instead of this kind of candied sellout vibe of rose. Get your nose on this, because there's something special in the background that I think a lot of people won't appreciate right off the bat. But ladies, get your nose on it. Guys, if you're into fragrances like Taif Oud from Roja, definitely give this a shot. And I think for the price point, it sits perfectly as something to, you know, consider. What's great about day 3 is you can get a travel spray, you can get a travel spray, you can get a discovery set, cash that in for a fragrance. You know, there's promo codes out there all over. I've never bought a day 3 fragrance and been upset or even not worn it a lot, you know, and I think I have like 4 or 5 bottles at this point. My family has a ton of bottles. My brother has almost the entire line. So you're never upset with a fragrance that you buy. But I think, I think I'm going to end it like this. You know, Michael said they really love when you try their fragrances because they don't want you to buy anything you're not going to be absolutely in love with. And I think just due to the nature of this fragrance, you have to get your nose on it. But when you get your nose on it, douse yourself in it because it's a quieter speaking fragrance. And so it's going to be a fragrance that's more intimate. Hug the person, get close. Oh, wow. Dang, what is that type of scent? So again, this was Day 3 Fragrances Royal Reflection. And I think it's pretty solid. And I think for some of you, it might just be a a soft killer, you know, like a good signature daily driver for you, or like just a beautiful rose scent in general, especially in the marketplace today. Like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. I do drop episodes all the stinking time. I'm going to put 2 videos up here of other Day 3 fragrances because I have at this point reviewed the entire line, including an interview with Michael on his latest release from Day 3 collaboration with Colton Dixon called Desert Rain. So check out that video where I talked to Michael in his boutique, and you can see the entire line and a little bit of, you know, the house as a whole and why they're so special in the marketplace today. But this was Royal Reflections, Day 3, and let me know if you guys have put your nose to it. Have a blessed week.